So, Thailand tourism has been caught a little bit with its pants down with its sudden surge of tourists, particularly from one particular country. And now it looks like the Chinese are about to return, or certainly dusting off their passports in the hope that they can now travel after announcements yesterday. More about that and plenty more in today's TNT. Hi everybody, welcome to TNT Wednesday's program. Great to have you with us. We've got plenty to report about today. If you've just arrived in Thailand over the past few days, we're certainly turning the weather on for you. Certainly down here in Phuket, just been absolutely postcard perfect weather, and looking to the forecast, I think it'll be continuing into the new year. I'm actually heading on a road trip today up north of the island to the northern province, just north of Phuket, province of Phang Na. So probably have more to report about that tomorrow. My iPad's logged out. Let's go to our first story. And this is from straitstimes.com. No immediate surge of Chinese tourists expected after COVID-19 rule relaxation. The story says China's relaxation of COVID-19 rules for international arrivals has raised hopes that its multi-billion-dollar travel business will soon flourish again. Second paragraph, China's National Health Commission announced that there would no longer be quarantine from January the 8th. Now, this is for inbound travellers. So people going into China don't have to do quarantine. And importantly for this story, people returning or tourists, Chinese citizens returning from a trip overseas, they don't have to do quarantine as well. There's been no official restrictions on Chinese people going abroad, but the new rule will make it much easier for them to return home. There has been plenty of Chinese people arriving in Thailand over the past few months, but we're talking about a tiny proportion compared to the almost mass tourism that we had back in 2019. Story says that China was the world's largest outbound tourism market before COVID-19 shut down. Airlines are drawing up plans to expand their services, but ordinary Chinese and travel agencies suggest that a return to anything like normal will take some time. And three key points I think we'll get from this article, the straitstimes.com. Data from the travel platform Ctrip showed that within half an hour of the announcement, searches for popular cross-border destinations increased tenfold. The Kunar platform says it saw a sevenfold increase in international flight searches. Japan, Thailand and South Korea were the top destinations searched for both platforms. So a great announcement for tour operators as Thailand's tourism business tries to get back on its feet. But the story from the Bangkok Post suggests there are a few fears involved. Chinese tourism influx raises fears. It says that an overload of tourists and an overwhelmed Thai healthcare system are issues to monitor next year after China fully reopened, with up to 500,000 tourists projected to start travelling during the Chinese New Year. I think that's at the end of January this year. In the second paragraph, even though the tourism sector applauded the announcement from Beijing, tourism operators were concerned about an imbalance between supply and demand. So this imbalance has been an issue. Obviously, there are still hotels closed, there's still planes sitting on the ground, and there's still a lot of flights to be added because people simply can't find staff. And I think a sudden influx of a lot of Chinese tourists would just add to that problem. Story goes on saying that the TAT governor said China's opening would lead TAT to revise its target for foreign arrivals from 20 million to more than 25 million in 2023. A very scientific analysis there from the governor of the TAT there, just magically picking two numbers out of the air with absolutely no evidence whatsoever to support those numbers. But of course we appreciate his enthusiasm. Beijing stopped announcing COVID infection numbers this week after the country reportedly had more than 1 million daily cases. So this is going to impact this influx of Chinese narrative throughout the start of next year, whilst at the same time China's having a huge surge of COVID-19. After being locked down for so long and having its borders closed, it's now suffering as many people start getting sick from COVID-19. Two paragraphs here from the Bangkok Post. The president of the Association of Thai Travel Agents said increased flight capacity should be the first priority for Thailand. Without the flights, you don't get the tourists. And Thailand still has to monitor how Beijing helps to facilitate passport renewals for its citizens. In the second paragraph here, the president of the Thai Hotels Association said that flights connecting to China will be an obstacle during the Chinese New Year, while a labour shortage for hoteliers remains as many workers left the industry for other jobs. So this problem continues, and having a sudden influx of tourists from, well, anywhere will cause a problem. Even at the moment, with the current capacity of tourists in Thailand, a lot of places suffering from a lack of staff. You're watching TNT with thanks to our sponsor, 5 Star Marine. Now, let me tell you, if you were going out on a trip today, you'd be very happy indeed. Those 30 islands off Phuket would be a great visit today. Real postcard and Instagram stuff. You're watching TNT. This is the TNT program, Wednesday, and really happy to have you along as we check out some of the local news stories. And from nationthailand.com, New Zealand tourist dies while taking a selfie over the Death Railway. And the story says that a New Zealand tourist fell to his death from a local train over the World War II Death Railway in Kanchanaburi. This happened yesterday. Police were alerted at 11:50 a.m. that a foreign tourist had died after falling about 10 metres from the train to the ground below. His name was Patrick Ward, who was 45 years old. The story goes on to say that when rescuers spotted him, he was barely breathing. The man's right arm and neck were broken with the fall, and rescuers tried to resuscitate him for about half an hour, but their efforts were in vain. And the Death Railway connecting Thailand and Burma was built from 1940 to 43 by civilian labourers recruited by the Japanese and prisoners of war taken by the Japanese to supply troops and weapons to Japan's Burma campaign in World War II. So that's a pretty sad story. That man there obviously trying to get a picture. Apparently he opened the door to sort of lean out and try and get a photo. Obviously that's a very silly thing to do. Having said that, I can warmly recommend to put Kanchanaburi on your list, and a visit to some of those relics of the Death Railway, including Hellfire Pass, are certainly worthy of a visit. Now, completely different story, but good news if you're South Korean. South Korea lifts ban on import of adult sex dolls. So a lot of South Koreans happy today with this story. And it says that South Korean officials have lifted an import ban on adult-sized sex dolls, and the decision comes after years of debate over whether the government was interfering in people's lives. Nearly 250,000 people signed a petition to stop the import of these dolls into South Korea. The unidentified author of the petition, wouldn't they be popular, said the dolls could lead to an increase in sex crimes. So some good news there. Where's that from? BBC.com. Found it necessary to publish that particular story. But for those people in South Korea, good luck to you. A serious story now, and this one is from EFE.com. Second Rohingya boat with nearly 200 refugees lands on the Indonesian coast. At least 185 Rohingya refugees, including men, women and 32 children, landed on Monday on an island in the far north of Indonesia's Sumatra. The third paragraph says that Aceh Regional Police say that a group of 185 immigrants included 83 men, 70 women and 32 children. And this is the second Rohingya boat to arrive on the coast of Aceh, after a group of 57 refugees, most of them male, including 13 minors, had landed on a beach in the same region on Sunday. Fourth paragraph says that local media say the group had been travelling towards South Asia by sea after escaping from refugee camps in Bangladesh, although the Indonesian authorities have not yet confirmed the origin and destination of the boat. This is an ongoing humanitarian crisis in the region. The Rohingya, which are from the state of Rakhine, which is the northwest of Myanmar, being forced out by many of the Burmese, including the Burmese army, forced into those refugee camps on the border of Bangladesh, many trying to escape by boat. The only way they can go is southward, trying to get usually to Indonesia or Malaysia to find, well, a new life and probably some work. This is an ongoing problem for that basket case that is Myanmar, and something that the local regional governments, ASEAN, just can't seem to get their head around or find a way to put pressure. And if it's not going to come from Southeast Asia, the rest of the world doesn't care. So it's a regional problem that the regional governments need to try and sort out. To our next story, in a real mixed bag today, this from the BangkokPost.com. Necklace snatcher trapped inside gold shop. Oh dear, he doesn't look very happy. Now, so let's try and find out what happened to this hapless burglar. A convicted robber who had just been released from prison was arrested after being trapped by a shop's security door as he tried to steal a gold necklace. It happened on Monday, 1:45 in Hat Yai, and apparently the man arrived on a motorcycle, parked it in front of the shop before walking in, but he left the engine running, arousing suspicions. Not a very smart burglar. So then once in the shop, apparently he wanted to see a few necklaces and try some on. He suddenly turned around, ran to the front glass door to exit the shop, but the electric safety door had been locked and he was trapped inside. The man walked back to return the gold necklace and begged for mercy with a why. I think a why was not going to suffice at that particular stage. Police say the man had just been released from prison after serving time for robbery. He allegedly said he intended to steal a gold necklace to get some money for the new year. So all very sad. Poor man just been released from prison, tries his luck in a gold shop, and rather than spending New Year enjoying his freedom, looks like he might be spending a bit more time inside. This story from the PatiaNews.com. Chonburi governor and a team repaints zebra crossings in Pattaya to prevent accidents during the upcoming New Year holiday. There they are, hard at work. Great selfie there for the media, all dressed up and tooled up and repainting those zebra crossings. Story says the governor of Chonburi kick-started a project to repaint zebra crossings in an effort to prevent road accidents during the upcoming New Year holiday. Just wondering if repainting these zebra crossings is really going to do very much. I think the effort would be to educate people to stop at zebra crossings, painted or otherwise. Halfway through the second paragraph there, he said to all participants that the repainting of the zebra crossings was a necessary precaution to ensure the safety of pedestrians, especially during the busy New Year holiday. The governor stated that the zebra crossings would be repainted in bright reflective colours to make them more visible to drivers who are urged to slow down and watch for pedestrians when approaching a zebra crossing. I think the issue here is that it's not so much the zebra crossings. We need both the education and then vertically we need like flashing lights, which I've seen used in zebra crossings in other parts of the world. Or should I be saying zebra crossings for our friends in America. So I think the flashing lights, some signage that's up above the road would be an important approach to this education of people and how to use zebra crossings. There they are, all lined up with their rollers, probably never seen a paintbrush in their life. And from Pattaya we now go to Samui, and famous English singer Sam Smith visits Samui Island. Not particularly familiar with Mr. Smith's work, although I do remember that he sang one of the James Bond movie themes. So here he is with a friend, and I just know that he's going to get plenty of social media. Where's your bike helmet? So I'm not sure whether he's just posing there with a friend or not. A famous English singer, Sam Smith, visited Samui Island and took many viral photos on Instagram and Facebook. Sam Smith, who is non-binary, which I think means he doesn't use the metric system, posted their photos on the social media channels on December the 23rd. This obviously is his friend behind him, were driving a motorbike on Samui Island. They were seen wearing a t-shirt saying, "Yippee, I'm gay." Many people saw they were driving a motorbike at night time too. And their latest song there, so obviously, is this his singing partner? Their latest song is Night Before Christmas, released last month. Meanwhile, another top song, Unholy, was released in August and has reached the top of the charter in many countries this year. So there you go. Bad news for this particular gentleman, and we're back to visas and overstays. This story from the PhuketExpress.com. A 44-year-old Indian man was arrested in Patong for 1,322 days of overstaying his legal visa conditions. That's nearly 4 years. The Phuket Immigration Office told the Phuket Express they've arrested Mr. Anil Dutt. And third paragraph there, it was unclear why Mr. Dutt had overstayed his visa. And with that, I suppose the moral of the story is don't overstay your visa, or make sure you've combed your hair in case you need to have a photo taken with the police if you do. And with that, thank you very much for watching today. Hopefully you get an opportunity to subscribe to the channel on the way out. Thank you very much to 5 Star Marine Phuket for their ongoing support. And thank you too for watching, and we'll do it all again tomorrow.